Welcome to the Bravo Charlie Club podcast, making you 12 and a half minutes more awesome each week. He's Ben. I'm Richard. Let's go. Ben, how are you this week, mate?
I'm well, mate. And for listeners who've just joined us in the United Arab Emirates, may we say hello and marhaba. So I hope I've pronounced that correctly.
Fantastic.
As you know, always trying to learn some new languages and welcome our new listeners. So there we are, UAE on board.
UAE
Probably
on board.
Abu Dhabi or Dubai is my guest.
Yeah, we must be like nudging 20 countries now, Ben.
22, I think, is the official number. I'd have to go back and count, to be honest.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
I didn't want to be one of those people that counts followers and, stats like that. So,
Sorry. 22 though. Happy with that.
Mind you, internally, I told my daughter the other day that we had 50 Spotify followers. And she said, Taylor Swift's got 89 million. And I didn't hear the million part, and I thought, gee, we're catching her. That's a surprise.
Well, we are catching her. Very, very slowly.
Oh, goodness me. We talked about my daughter heading to Bali, and part of her trip was actually anchored by some advice that you gave, which was to use a private taxi and transfer service. We paid a daily rate for her to have someone pick her up and drop her off from the airport and hotel. And does that recommendation play in other countries? I've certainly used it in Jakarta, but that's also part of Indonesia. So it's clearly something that's common there. But are you familiar with that happening in other countries as well?
I guess it probably does. I think for Bali, because we lived there for a few years, we knew the locals, and it's pretty common to have drivers to take you places and shuffle you around the island. So we had a driver who we knew quite well, and sort of super happy to recommend him, to you guys to use. Other countries, I'm not sure about other countries. I mean, I don't know. It's always a bit of a lottery at the airport, right? Taking the airport taxi.
But Uber's not always available. So
I know, right?
So how do you control that?
We were in Bangkok recently 4 or 5 months back, and we went with the airport taxi to get us to the hotel. And we thought we'd negotiated the price, but the price negotiation started as soon as we left basically the boom gate for the airport en route to the freeway. And so we were like, are we going to get our bags dumped here before we hit the freeway into town? Anyway, it was an uncomfortable trip.
I can imagine.
I'm sure they do it all the time, right?
Yeah. I think I've learned that the control of the transaction changes hands upon payment. So whilst it would have been nervous, and I understand that, I figure you're probably still, as they say, in the driver's seat, although literally you were not in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
But, negotiating the price ahead of the time, I think that's very normal and smart that you're doing it. I also would add something to that. If you're nervous, don't pay until your luggage is on the sidewalk.
True. Yeah.
Once you've reached the destination, that last sort of pillar is sitting inside that boot.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I've jumped out of plenty of cars and got my stuff out before handing over any cash or credit card details.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, totally. Yep.
So to sum up, in Bali, my daughter had a driver pick her up from the airport, pick her up from the hotel, take her to wherever she wanted to go, take her back at the end of the day. We paid a daily rate, which was fair and certainly reasonable when you consider conversions. But I think as a father with an 18-year-old in another country, it gave me certainty around probably two of the more least safe parts of the trip, which is the pick up from the hotel and the drop off back to the hotel. So that gave me some comfort, not a lot. It was still I still worried.
Sure.
But it was interesting. Hey, do you grab souvenirs when you travel?
Not these days. When I was in my 20s, when I was a lad, back in the day.
A million years ago. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that first trip that you had overseas, you brought back something for anyone you knew who was even a
Yeah.
casual friend, and you had like half a suitcase full of gifts. And then that sort of second or third trip, maybe you got something for the important friends. But these days, I think international travel, is almost like catching a bus, right? You've got low cost carriers and you just sort of shuffled on like
Yeah.
cows, like cattle. I don't think, I think the expectations probably changed. It used to be a lot more fancy. It used to be a lot more important, oh, you're going overseas. Wow. That's kind of, these days, I think it seems, I don't know, less fancy or something like that. So yeah,
For
no
me,
souvenirs, souvenirless.
For
How
me, I
about
mean,
yourself?
I advocate don't check luggage, so obviously that limits. But
Yes.
I do love to grab a coaster, usually because it's cardboard and recyclable, and I use coasters on my desk, and it reminds me of the fun times I had
Oh, yeah, that's a nice
in that
idea. Yeah.
location. I'll always buy toothpaste. Like, I don't mind if my toothpaste runs out, because you get another flavour from another country, and again, it just extends your holiday a little bit for those mornings and evenings.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not really a souvenir person either. So
Hotel
yeah,
pens, actually. I quite like hotel pens.
no, can't do it.
I think that's included in the room cost, though.
I'm sure it is, but I still leave them there. I think they probably get surprised about how little I take. Yeah. Hey, listener feedback. Have we got anything coming in this week?
Oh, listener feedback. Yes. Listener BH wrote in, Ben, this is kind of like targeted at you, I think, and
It
expressed
usually is.
surprise that you didn't know who your own neighbour was that mowed your lawn. So,
Fair call. I do know Yang. I think what I said was, yeah, he's the nicest guy I've never met. I do know Yang. That was probably wrong. What I don't do is speak Mandarin.
yes.
Um,
Yeah.
apart from some pretty lame phrases. So we just smile and wave and exchange gifts. For the record, because he mows a much bigger section of my lawn, I do have a power edger. So I go across and edge his
What's the
lawn.
power edger? Is that like a
It's
whippersnipper or
it's a
something?
whippersnipper, but it's got a metal blade, so it actually cuts quite a nice, neat
Okay.
edge.
Gotcha.
And he loves that, because I think he either hasn't got a whippersnipper or just knows that I'm going to come through. And I sweep up afterwards too, so it's full service. And again, we just get on by with a smile and a wave. Hey, listener MP says, what's the deal with our podcast music? And I think he's particularly targeting the dog
Yes.
chiming in at the end
Yeah.
of one of our recent episodes.
I know. I think Dash got a bit excited at the end of last episode and let
It
out
was
a
a
few
good
barks
episode.
as
I
he,
think
as he ripped around the lounge room.
thought he was cheering. But I think that's the reality of Bravo Charlie Club, isn't it? We're not pretending to be professionals. I think we've
Straight
forgotten
from the
them.
kitchen table to you.
We've forgotten the music a few times. Like, it's just, you get what you get.
That's true.
So,
I think too. I think Zencaster edits our sort of end music out with that sort of quietness. Like it takes out pauses, repeated
gotcha.
words, and things like
Yeah,
that.
if only
The
there was a
end
way
music
to
doesn't seem
fix
to
it.
make it. I don't
Yeah.
know. Probably is.
Yeah, I doubt it. No, it's unfixable. It is what it is. Yeah.
It is. It is.
But if listeners, go on,
we didn't fully awake yet.
haven't we not?
We skipped it. We skipped the fully awake section, Ben.
Oh, well, we usually go in there first. That's interesting. So, mixing it up for the listeners. Why don't we cycle back? Because you actually told me that you were conducting a reverse searing experiment. What the hell is reverse searing? And are you now no longer a traditional searer?
Yes, I am no longer a traditional searer. So reverse searing is cooking the steak in a pan, and you do two sides, and then you put it into the oven to bake for a little bit before you sort of.
So you heat up the pan
before you plate it. Yeah, you heat up the pan, like
seal
you sear
the steak.
Yep. Yeah, like you normally would, and you go 3 minutes or 4 minutes or 5 minutes aside or whatever, depending on how you like your steak and how thick it is. And then and then you usually just let it sit, sit for a couple of minutes, and then and then you'd serve it. Reverse searing is you put it into the oven after you've sort of done the searing in a pan for 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and then serve it.
So just so I'm clear, the searing at the start, how long did you do that for?
Well, it depends on how thick your steaks are. So I go about 4 or 5 minutes aside.
Okay. And then into the oven.
And then into the oven,
And
reverse
so
searing.
what's it doing?
Yeah.
What's your experience? Like, is it making it more melt in your mouth, or?
I think it's juicier. It sort of seems to be juicier anyway. I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the exact science behind it, but
Well, you haven't convinced me
yeah.
you completely know what you're talking about. So,
fortunately, it's really easy to do. Right? You just get a steak and you cook it differently to the way you usually did, and go.
Here's the
How did
test.
that
Did
turn
you
out?
enjoy
That's
it?
all right.
Did you enjoy it?
I did actually, and
so it's worth a try.
The family can be a bit fussy on that side of things, and got double thumbs up all round. So
wow,
more
importantly,
it is
that's
the
the
win. Yes.
So, and you've got your oven. Was it at the 200 type or like Celsius?
I think that's what I had it at. Actually, might have even been a bit hotter. Might have been 220 or something. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Game on. I do love a good steak, so I'm going to have a crack.
There you go.
Hey, conundrum of the week. How late is too late to mow the lawn on a Sunday evening?
Well, you're speaking to the wrong person there. This is like coming to me for car advice, really, given that I don't think I've ever had a lawn.
Hey, hang on. You haven't had a lawn.
I don't have a lawn. I've never had a lawn. I'm lawnless. I don't think I've actually ever had a place with a lawn. Let me think. No, I haven't. Or certainly not where I've had to be responsible for it. Nature strips, sure. But no, never a lawn. So
interesting. Because I posed this question to a friend of mine and listener MT, and he told me that the correct answer is the time it takes to drink one Corona before dusk.
Oh, yeah.
So
like dark when the sun's down,
lawnmowers
are off.
Yeah, correct. It has to be light, and there has to be enough light for you to enjoy the fruit of your labour and have a Corona. Yeah. And then lights out. So
I like that.
I thought it was very well solved. Especially when you put a reward at the end of the mowing part of it. So it was nice.
I need to get a lawn so I can have more Coronas on dusk. That sounds like a good idea.
I think the general population would say stay lawnless.
Yes, it's true. It's more stuff, isn't it?
It's just more stuff. Hey, that's it, Richard. Listeners have been BCC'd on our week. In next week's show, we're going to ask exactly how does that Apple update work. See you next week. Bravo Charlie Club out.
And that's the pod.